Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, potentially for the last time. DFM have moved to match point. They are up 2-1 in this series after a scrappy-ish early game, but looking at these damage numbers, it was anything but close by the time that game ended, Vinny.
Yeah, no, it was very scrappy, but you can see poor Ray Farkey, or man against the world there,
He tried.
putting out so much damage, more than his jungle and mid combined. That is a very painful situation. You're sitting there crying after that. But
yeah.
Huge output from Seros. Massive turnarounds. They just played that game very nicely start to finish.
I kind of agree with you there. Obviously, it was a little bit close at points. That second Drake with the Cannon Barrage coming in maybe could have been a world where Burning Core came back in. They went 3 for 3, but it never quite worked out post that point. And I kind of want to turn my eyes away from DFM. It's quite easy to talk about the winners. I want to instead turn to Burning Core. We're into draft, so we're going to have to make this fairly quick. But what do you want to see out of Burning Core to try and even up this series and not go quietly into the night?
So with Burning Core, I, again, play a simple comp. They've played two rather high execution compositions, and they've lost both times. They had one very simple teamfight comp, and they won the game. So just play simple. Go for those team fights. You probably don't get to play the Darius again, but
triple ban against Seros. Sorry, continue. I'm just chuckling at that.
Yeah, triple ban against Seros. They've identified something. They've identified one of the threats. But now DFM is sort of sitting there going, what do we ban? That set is no longer being banned by Burning Core, which means Caitlyn is now available for the first time.
Okay, that's a Mundo hover, but I doubt it's a first pick. Caitlyn would be hovering again. It also means that Darius is unbanned, and Burning Core will get Caitlyn for the first time this series. That's a pretty simple win condition in and of itself, I feel, Vinny. Would that count as a start?
That does count as a start, but if you're DFM, now you can just go for the Ashe and maybe you look for the Bard. It seems like Proud has had a lot of fun really
He's a great
trended towards that. You could also go for the Morgana and go Ashe Morgana. Takes away the
Morgana away from
takes it away from the Caitlyn. I don't know if the Proud is particularly practiced on that pick, but it's a very, Ashe Morgana is a strong duo in itself. They also want the Volley Bear.
Can't blame them after a couple wins on that champion. They've looked pretty confident with that pick. It's definitely a flex for them. Want now has the chance to respond. His Hobbit the Lee Sin has gone to that a few times. Thinking about the Graves again. And we've seen a mixed performance. One which was pretty good after a bit of a sloppy start, managed to recover pretty well, and one where he didn't really get all that much done. Is going to be locked in though, and maybe we'll try and reprise what they tried to do in the first game, where diving the bot lane repeatedly.
Yeah, and probably not dive because you don't have quite the same sort of setup. Though, if they lock in the Lux here, they sort of do. But no, there's the Morgana. So there it is. I did call it. Now they have that absolute pick potential. They can absolutely go for dives. It's very hard for DFM to really pick into a there's not really much DFM can pick that will really match up into this lane. They could go Lux, they can't go Karma. Karma's got nerfed to oblivion.
The Yono hover. I don't know whether that's allowed within the what's the term now? The tournament realm, I suppose, right now. I'm not quite sure where the LJL's rulings are on that, but it will be the Nidalee locked in. That means it's the Volley Bear top. Graves v Nidalee, they know how it works. Ebby has played the Volley Bear super, super well, and teleporting in behind the Morgana and the Caitlyn to try and run them down might be an option here for DFM.
Yeah, going back to more or less the composition they ran in game one from DFM, so not Well, I mean, if they ain't broke, don't fix. And I'm still interested in the support pick DFM is going to choose. The Lulu off the table is a big one that could have helped swing it back into DFM's sort of favor in terms of lane pressure. But I don't know if they just decide maybe we sort of look to sack bot lane and try to play through the volley bear again.
Go towards the GP. Rayfaki was the shining light on that champion the last time out, so it does make sense. Camille is still available. Could go towards that? Yeah. Exactly, it is a safe pick. And it's also another way to support bot lane, right? Like, you throw down that cannon barrage if people try to contest the Caitlyn Morgana. I get the reasoning behind it.
Yeah, you can't... You also can't really set up the Nidalee spear with it because he just eats orange and walks away. But now we see the... Oh, no.
Okay, so it's Tahm Kench to keep the Ashe alive, but the Tahm Kench himself is a bit of a sucker for bindings into traps and can be a bit of a punching bag versus the Kate Morg.
Yes. So this does absolutely indicate DFM's going to look purely to the top side to get their carry, to get the carry from Evie again.
Way to counter, way to play against the top side focus. Go towards the Mordekaiser. They're hovering Nocturne, and I want to point out that this would not be the first time we have seen a Nocturne mid in the LJL. It hasn't been seen in a little while. Did get buffed. Either way, not going to be. It'll be instead Yu-Gi-Oh going back towards the Cassiopeia. Strong mix, that's double AP top side of the map, but with a Graves in the jungle, you're not feeling too sad about that. You've got a Caitlyn as well, so fairly decent damage spread for Burning Core. And DFM have got one last pick to try and round out their comp, but I'm kind of happy with the way Burning Core have drafted thus far. Thinking about going towards the AP Cog more so.
That's perfect. That's really perfect into this comp, because Burning Core has no engage. They have a Mordekaiser, sort of, or like a flash petrifying gaze. They have
and you've got a Tahm Kench to save people as well. So
yeah, they have no good hard engage. You can just rain hell down with the Nidalee spears and the AP Cogmore, and even Ashe as well. So much disengage. Evie doesn't have to be the big carry this game. He can just build full tank and just stand and just try and stand in front of them. Perfect last pick.
Really happy with that, Vinny. You can hear the how pleased he is with that, with the Tahm Kench there to save the double AD carries. You've got double poke with Cogmore and Nidalee, and hell, volleys aren't so bad on top of that as well. But that said, there is still this Caitlyn Morgana lane. There is still a Graves. Yeah. There is still a world where that bot lane gets run over. It's a lot of pressure on a rookie in the form of Yuhi. It's a lot of pressure on a player who, in all honesty, we haven't come to expect all that much from. This is it. This is your last chance in playoffs. Yuhi, what have you got?
Yeah, Yuhi really has to show up massive, because honestly, bot lane snowballing is their only real win condition. Now, they do have okay late game team fights. Caitlyn is solid in the late game, as is Cassiopeia, but Mordekaiser becomes worthless. Graves becomes worthless. Morgana becomes a black shield button and an occasional binding. So you really have to get that snowball going. Otherwise, you just get outscaled super hard if you're Burning Core.
Yeah, and of course, if this Mordekaiser can find a way to get Cogmore or Ashe in the Death Realm, things might look different. That said, it's not going to be easy, but Rayfaki, his teleports could be absolutely critical if they want to win around particularly dragon fights and the like.
Yeah, they are absolutely crucial.
I imagine, of course, actually, ironically, even though it will be Cassiopeia, normally needs a little bit of time to get online, does like to go for tier, Seras and the like. I imagine actually that it will be Burning Core with the early advantage and pressure for dragons and stuff, which will be a bit of a turnaround.
Yes.
Because of the Caitlyn Morgana. So maybe actually if you can snowball hard enough and get enough dragons that DFM won't be able to contest. But I think this Cogmore could be a bit of a masterstroke. We'll have to see.
Yeah, so I mean, Ray Farkey can always go for that. Trying to pick off the junglers so they can't get the smites down on dragons and Baron. So there is that. They can go through that sort of win condition. But again, they're going to have a really hard time if they want to do something like bait Baron, because there's a lot of poke to rein in. They have no real way to turn the fights. So they can't bait. They have to commit to these objectives. And now they're lucky that it's not a champion that really wants to build a QSS, or at least has to waste gold on it. So when those Cogmore doesn't mind QSS that much. He can get use out of Mercurial. Nidalee doesn't like it at all.
No.
So you're gonna have to pay the tax on those carries, but other than that, this Mordekaiser is going to be pretty. I mean, Mordekaiser suffers. Mordekaiser is very hard.
Can I get some clarification on an interaction? Can you devour a target just before they're getting put in the Death Realm to make sure they don't go in? So that is a possible interaction.
You can do that. I don't think it puts the ultimate on cooldown though. So there is that.
Okay, so it doesn't put it on the cooldown. Okay, so room for that to kind of get punished both ways. All right, we know where our eyes are at. That bot lane is going to be high priority for Burning Core. We know that if DFM can kind of hit that mid game with the Cogmore in particular online, then things might get a bit more dicey for Burning Core. Eyes, of course, on Ray Farkey's teleport. Those are your 3 points, ladies and gentlemen. We know where we're focusing. Anything you want to add to that, Vinny? Any nuance you want to add to my broad strokes there?
So I mean, there is a lot of pick. There is a decent amount of pick potential in the bot lane on the side of DFM with the Ashe and the Tahm Kench. And so if Nidalee makes her way down there and they can get early kills up down there, maybe that bot lane becomes nothing. Maybe that bot lane doesn't do anything.
Yeah, maybe. Definitely an option. And Once, of course, has had his usual style in this series of invading all the time. It has been mixed success, I think it's fair to say. Versus the Karth started well, then went very swiftly wrong. We saw that Raptor invade in the last game, which was certainly something. Made for a good highlight reel, but it wasn't really all that well advised.
So,
kind of curious how this one will work out here.
Sort of a disconnect on the bot laners here. Proud has gone all in on the laning runes. He's got the Comet, he's got the Spell Thieves, he's got the Scorch. Where Yuhi going for the lethal tempo, not going for this cut. He's got the cut down, but he hasn't gone for the cold start to really amplify that. So
interesting. So what would you have rather seen? That particular cold start for that additional damage?
If you go with the cold start and the fleet footwork, you get a good amount extra damage in the lane. Now, lethal tempo does do a lot better come the mid to late game, especially if you go for the double BF sword sort of build, rather than the multiple attack speed items. So, I mean, so it's not wrong, but it's
it's not necessarily what you would have preferred right now.
I kind of just would have liked them to sync up, and if one's going all in on the laning phase, both go all in. Just smash that lane as best you can.
So the halfway house is more your problem here, which is kind of what we got. Yeah. Maybe not the best thing to see straight from the off. Ebby hits level 2, gets the Sky Splitter, as well as the Thundering Smash, and Ray Farkey taken very low. Darkness Rises, comes out to turn some stuff around, but Ebby puts Ray Farkey down to nearly 100 HP there.
Yep. Mordekaiser is not good in the early game, especially into a bully like Volibear, as we might see the junglers interact, but
go for the steal. There's the nair. The spear does not quite connect.
So close.
Days, that was a frame away, and Steel will not quite succeed in living up to his namesake, but he got really damn close.
And I just noticed that was due to the ward in that small brush at the entrance.
What?
Oh no, that's a solo!
Okay.
Yeah.
Ebby has the most
Okay.
solo kills of any player in the league,
Yeah.
I believe. And getting to show why Rayfaki had a rough start in that lane, gets immediately punished.
So you cannot walk up against a Volibear as Mordekaiser. It is so hard to do. Like, you get out-traded so hard, especially in the early levels.
This is the voice of the shrimp you forgot. Do not let him get a good matchup in top lane.
Production there.
Okay.
I don't know whether you can hear that on the stream, but of course, Ebby, his name comes from Ebi Kuya, which means shrimp, basically, in Japanese. V and B are the same letter in Japanese as well. You pronounce them the same, so it's it should really be Ebby. But, you know, all of these things are continuing either way. Either way, it will be getting the Gromp as well.
Once is just not having a game.
I mean, he gets the blue secure. He does not get the Gromp, and it's been a rough one for Burning Core. They're down 300 gold or so right now. A lot of that will be off that early first blood to the Volibear. Double Doran's Ring once more. That AP scaling shielding, particularly with the Sky Splitter, is pretty damn good. And you can see some stats from Ebby on the Volibear there. I kind of converted their names into some awful pet name. I'm sorry, Ebby. You didn't need that from me.
And he cheats the recall too, so he has the teleport available if the team needs it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so as I was saying before production decided to talk about shrimps. Mordekaiser cannot do anything into the Volibear early on. He takes too long to stack up the Conqueror, whereas the immediate power from press the attack just rips through you, and they're just going to go bully Rayfaki again.
There is a ward though, and once it's around, that could potentially turn things around, but it might be too late. Rayfaki has got flash. Yet. There is the flash out, but remember, Steel is still not quite going to get the kill, but Seros gets it with the Swift level 6, and that means the Cogmore picks up a second kill. That was well played by DFM.
Yeah. Goes directly to the Cogmore. That's exactly where you want it. He's going to be very happy. And once is not even going to get this Grump. Seros, he can get his tier. He's going to be a very happy boy.
Steel has to potentially be a touch careful here. He's a little low HP, and if someone was to roam over, could be a spot of bother. But Yu-Gi-Oh, you can see, has had to stick around on that top side to make sure the wave doesn't go to waste, having burned his teleport. So Rayfaki will return the favor in mid lane. But bot lane, there is a lead, but there's also a wave that will be being pushed out shortly because Jutapon got the back early for boots and longsword, and that's kind of about
gone for the lane swap.
Yeah, we've got the lane swap.
I don't know if this is going to be a permanent one or just because Yu-Gi-Oh hasn't had the chance to back off yet from top lane, but
can't say I know all that much about Volibear and Cassiopeia. I can make some educated guesses, but I can't say I have all the stats in front of me for that.
Yeah, we see Rayfaki sort of moving up now, so they're going to swap. And I mean, you could kind of tell from the fact Ray is going directly towards that Bramble Vest, which he will desperately need. And with the double Doran start, it might not even be be enough for him. But
maybe
getting an invader to the blue buff.
Okay, so once again, Once is in the Jungle of Steel. Both of these junglers have been returning that favor, but the reset comes through. It means blue buff Steel kind of averted instead. Potentially moving over towards the Scuttle Crab. All right. Tormentosaur comes down on that very beautiful Coven Morgana skin. I do love those VFX, but this time Once will at least secure the Scuttle Crab vision, so well played by him. That's something at least will prevent DFM from walking over to the dragon out of vision. And level 6 hit for Yuhi, not hit for Utapon as yet. I'm not seeing that turret plate pressure right now. It's only been the one plate down this far. And there's the level 6.
Yeah, there is the one plate. They've had to sort of play back as the as Burning Core had to respond to the top side. But now they've got the BF sword to the tier 2 boots, so they should be in a very good position there. Steel can't taking a lot of damage, but Seros is going to come down to assist, so they should be okay with this dragon.
Should be, but remember, he's got flash, he's got quick draw, to try and find his way over, but he's got no mana. He has a bit risky here, but remember, I don't believe Kuka form Nidalee needs it. Seros will take a chunk there, and that's very aggressive from DFM, who do get the heal back over the wall. Teleport now coming in. Ebby gets petrified in place, but Steel still looking to secure this dragon. Piltover Peacemaker misses, and DFM do secure the dragon with the assistance of a teleport flash out from Once and Yu-Gi-Oh as well.
And you see the the pressure from Evie coming through. He hasn't had to use his teleport at all this game. Mm-hmm. He's been able to cheat the backs off the deaths of Rayfaki. So that means he's able to use it there to secure that first Drake for the side of DFM. Even though they probably could have just let it go, it means they would have been able to get that extra. It would have meant the Dragon Snowball is slowed, but they have that get.
Blue invade coming through. Burning Core are around, but it is a 3 versus 2. It is Steel that gets a hold of that one. Death's Grasp doesn't really get anything. DFM will extricate themselves from the enemy jungle and will start up this Rift Herald. Utapon and Gang both have teleport if they want to come over and contest, but see what Burning Core want to do. Last one went the way of DFM, but we know how DFM can sometimes get themselves in trouble around these Heralds. Could be a spot of bother. Going to be let to reset here. There it goes. Burning Core.
Rayfaki is sacrificing he can't really approach the wave into Evie, so he waits for Evie to push in and just supports the Herald at the time.
Double teleport from the bot laners there coming in. They want to contest. They've got level 6s. Ebby, very strong, has a Stormbringer to bring some hurt onto Burning Core. Ash Arrow lands onto Once. That is a huge problem. Unstoppable goes the bear. That will prevent the Death Realm from really functioning. And DFM will now secure themselves the Rift Herald as Rayfaki duels with Volibear and will not win that one. DFM secure Rift Herald and now going to try and find their way to mid lane.
The Death Realm coming through saves Once's life right there, as the amount of burst coming out of Evie isn't able to blow him up, but all that was enough to keep Once occupied. Mm-hmm. In the end, they get the Rift Herald for nothing, now they just need to convert it. Maybe go top again, dive and break that open, or look to give some welfare to your AD carry to catch up against the Caitlyn.
All right, Abyssal Voyage is in.
Or just
so I
get that. Just get that. Get the Cogmore ahead.
Absolutely.
Further.
Definitely.
That's probably the play.
Yuhi, absolutely, as you can see here, after the back from Utapon did get himself a fairly significant CS lead. It is obviously Caitlyn Morgana. We've been over that before, but there was some cost to what DFM did there, and they're up about 400 gold. But Yuhi on this Caitlyn is pretty strong. But again, only the one play, and down the Herald probably isn't where you want this game to be right now.
Yeah, Yuhi also roamed up for that play, whereas Utapon was able to teleport, which meant that if Yuhi had stayed bot and they just sort of positioned around the Herald and just puffed themselves up, made themselves look big with no actual intention of going in, they probably could have mined a lot out of the
coming, but that will not land, I don't think. Misses both solo laners. I appreciate the attempt, but nothing to be found there. And now down that arrow, actually, Burning Core might feel emboldened to step up to this tower and look to get a little bit more if they can. Rayfaki now in a spot of bother. There is not quite Death Realm. It's very close. And Steel probably has to be a touch wary, but Once is around, and they're looking for this Herald play. You know they are. Once finds himself onto a Nidalee and takes a very swift Runic Echo blast to the face. There is the collateral damage as well, but a swift heal as well will mean that Steel comes out of that trade very much on top right now.
Yeah, and DFM, I think, are just trying a bit too hard around this top lane. I don't think you need to really accelerate Evie that much more. He can absolutely continue to just smash this matchup in the 1v1. Try and drop it down into the mid lane. Get Saros even further ahead.
Still needs to
Don't
be a
get
bit
collapsed
careful here.
on.
There is a snake coming out. He is going to find a petrifying gaze. Surely, Yu-Gi-Oh actually just takes a lot of damage. Ebby gets frozen in place, but the spear and an ultimate from Cogmore gets them everything. Death Realm now in. Sky Splitter coming out of Ebby, but he's very, very low. This could be a shutdown actually to Ray Farkey, who's got the bear in the Death Realm. But now the Rift Herald Summon, they won't quite find it. That is an indestructible buying time flashing for Ray Farkey, but he can't get the kill. And now Seros stepping forwards once pretty damn low as well. Bio-Arcane Barrages. I think it must have had its eye pop there. Got caught up on aggro on various people after Ray Farkey came out, so it will be a kill, but no plates for DFM, which is a little bit of a sadness for them.
And that's almost not worth. There was no actual shutdown on Evie, so you're probably better off letting Evie die just to secure that Rift Herald charge onto Saros. It would have probably been a gold trade, but
it will be the Drake over here.
It would have been extra gold onto the Cogmore compared to gold on the Mordekaiser. And Mordekaiser's worthless. You take that every day. Meanwhile, Yu-Gi-Oh's just a bit late here. Gets it onto Evie, which is nice, but the spear followed by the Arcane Barrage is just.
So what happens to the Herald? Feels like it should be fine right there.
Drops it here.
So it should be fine.
Pops out and decides I don't want to do anything.
Aggroed by once. That's really strange. Yeah, just gets an eye to the face.
And then it never sets up to charge. That's the weird bit.
That's a bit unfortunate for DFM. They're going to feel a little bit aggrieved by that one. Felt like a pretty good play, but that's sometimes the issue when you summon Herald in odd places. The pathing script can get a little odd. Case in point right there. That said, Ebby now at Trinity Force versus not even a completed item right now. This Mordekaiser. It's Stormrazor in for the Caitlyn, though, who has got about a 30 CS lead, which is good news for her. And that is about all there is to write home about in favor of Burning Core, because that Cogmore's got 2 kills as well, which is a bit of a scare.
And Ray Farkey's lost to the Shopkeeper.
What's he gone and done?
He's gone for Seekers and Stopwatch is not a good item.
They wanted to try and hit Yu-Gi-Oh, and then there's the missing ping that comes out saying, what happened there?
Yeah, so Seekers is not a good item onto Mordekaiser. It's pretty bad.
Okay.
It provides.
Nymeria tends to disagree because you can just basically go Bramble Vest and Ninja Type and have basically 5 cloth armor very easily, very early.
Yeah, yes, you can.
It's versus 3 AP topside.
But then again, absolutely, it's 3 AP topside as Proud takes a very large Bio-Arcane Barrage to the face and gets forced away from
It's
the
3 AP topside, and you want that Bramble Vest to deny the healing in the 1v1 and 2v2 from the Nidalee and the Volibear. So you're just wasting gold here. It delays your actual items even more. You want to be death realming onto the Cogmore, so you want to be rushing that Proto Belt even faster, and one's almost going to die in the 2v1.
Yeah, took a collateral damage to the face and was very unhappy about that particular moment. And again, Burning Core can't really get close to this tower. Ebby trades health bar, but is still just fine up here. He's got ultimate as well, can obviously use his unstoppable on his ultimates to be able to keep out of the death realm. And actually this bot lane tower is going to go in favor of potentially Ashe here as Yuhi stepping forward, takes a tongue dive to the face. Gang tanks up the ace in the hole.
Yeah, and you can see the poke coming out of the side of DFM is enough to push Proud and Yuhi back.
Oh no,
never
the
mind.
Auto. You spoke too soon. Now Gang will have his lane partner throw a bit of an assault. But Ebby's teleported in. Here comes the stopwatch. It's still going to be just a golden statue, and Yuhi gets 2. But Ebby has got himself a Stormbringer. Will look to try and find his way on. But wait, Death Realm buys time, and Ebby has just teleported into his death. That's 3 kills to Burning Core.
Oh, Ebby, what was that?
I don't know who got the Rift Herald. I believe it was Steel, but I'm not entirely sure. And now Seros and Yu-Gi-Oh fighting around at this top side. DFM
judging by the fact Yu-Gi-Oh hasn't gone for it, it's DFM.
Void Ooze coming out, and first turret still has to hop away.
Oh my god, DFM, no.
And they can't get to the Eye of the Herald. All right, first turret goes the way of Burning Core of a critical misplay in the bot side.
And so Gang thinks he can stall it out for some reason. He definitely cannot. Not against a cut down
They want it so
Caitlyn
bad.
with the whole. So yeah, from here it's like fine. You've got you messed up. Just take the reset. But he lands the Q and then flashes with the crit. And then yeah, Gang can't get out of the thing, and yeah. Oh. And once you're trapped,
you're done.
He tries, and like if he can get on top of the he can get that double kill and it's worth it, but you're never going to. You eat the binding and it's just no. Yeah, well, that's a free kill.
That was pretty sloppy, and Burning Core going to feel pretty happy about that. But now Utapon caught out a little over the side. The Abyssal Voyage now coming through. Might try and save Utapon. He's taken very, very low. The stun. He's going to try and turn it around. It gets really damn close, but once gets out. He has got to flash. But that now means it is a 4v5 around this dragon. But the jungler is very low for Burning Core. DFM might still want to contest.
And Utapon he sees the Abyssal Voyage and then kites the complete opposite direction.
He does. Maybe
what are you doing, man?
He saw people in the jungle, felt he couldn't get there. Ray will pick up that Drake for Burning Core. That is a second Drake for them, and DFM will instead look to set up around this mid lane, possibly, as they are in a bit of an awkward position. Teleport back in from Utapon. That's a couple dumb moments from this AD carry, who we normally have a lot of good things to say about, but now DFM have got themselves position on this mid lane tier 1. And will likely secure it for themselves.
They can take this and then probably rotate reasonably quickly to get the other two outer turrets that are both already really low. So they have the potential to just blast their way back into a decent gold lead. So it's not too bad for DFM, but yeah,
that was a dirt moment
made
in the bot
some
lane.
Stupid mistakes down there.
Yeah, that play on the bot side, it's gone right the way over to Burning Core now after that that kind of moment of madness in the bot side. You can see it's kind of shifted back a little now in the favor of DFM, but it was DFM's game to win for a bit there. We'll waving back and forth for sure, but now Burning Core are finding themselves in a pretty happy spot.
Yeah, DFM just... All right, we're going to have to move on from that. Baron is up. We're now looking at this as a real objective. The take on the side of DFM is pretty insane with the percent health damage that comes out of both of these AD carries and the volley bear.
On the side there was Cassiopeia and Caitlyn. That's hardly slow.
Yeah, that is also true. There is a lot of damage there as well if they get all 5 members onto it. So Baron is very, very squishy in this game, but we will see if they can set up properly. DFM, they've had pretty solid vision control this game around their objectives. They just don't seem to. They just aren't really positioning properly afterwards. Yeah. They're getting caught out. They're making stupid mistakes, and it's just gonna cause pain for them.
It definitely did in that bot lane play. We saw it. Been over it enough now, but at this point you can see Ray Farkey has stabilized somewhat here. Has evened up the CS lead to only the 10 differential now, which is good news for him. But that said, Cogmore is very strong at this point. Has got himself to the double flat pen, of course, of Oblivion Orb, plus himself some Sork pen boots. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. But it's still going to be this question about how on earth the Burning Core get onto DFM if they are set up correctly. But that's kind of the key right now.
Yeah, that is the key. And DFM, I mean, the issue is Burning Core does want them to run into them. If DFM chooses to run towards them and try and make that engage, Burning Core can absolutely turn around. But if DFM are smart, they never have to. They just sort of sit at range. They just throw arrows and Cogmore bile at them. And they're going to get this tower.
Yeah, they
which
do get the top
brings them back to even.
Top tier 1, I apologize. Yeah, it does bring gold actually slightly in favor of DFM, but it's 400 gold at 22, now 23 minutes into the game, which is Frankly, not all
Nothing.
that much. Exactly. 2 items in for both AD carries. That's a pretty big deal. He's going to be the lethality graves as well for nice turnaround there for Ebby, who avoids the petrifying gaze, and that baited out of Yu-Gi-Oh is a pretty big deal. Will likely be just about off cooldown by the time the Infernal Drake start comes up, but you never know. Could still be a little ways off.
Yeah.
Have to find out. It's not that long a cooldown on Cassiopeia's ult, so
Yeah, if
should be
DFM are able to get onto it immediately, they have that cooldown timer. But actually looking at it, it's racing up that cooldown pretty quickly.
Some
So
CDR plus level 11 means that cooldown's probably not all that high, all things said and done. But you're right, DFM still wanting to set up around this dragon are going to be in position and looking to punish Burning Core coming into them. Some Bioarcane barrages now starting to rain down from this Cogmore, who doesn't have a blue buff worth pointing out, so does have to be a little wary of his mana costs.
yeah, and as we know, Caitlyn is very good when she gets the chance to set up her trap line. So she's not that great at pushing into anything. And as we've mentioned time and time again, there is no real hard engage on the side of Burning Core. So if DFM can keep this up, and maybe they don't even really need to push this far out. They can, if they keep the rest of their team there and the poke ready, they can just do this. Send 1 or 2 members down to take the dragon, while the poke from the Cogmore and the Nidalee just keep Burning Core at bay and scared of taking this dragon. And that's this Baron.
Yeah,
And that's a free Drake.
It is a free Drake. You can see what Burning Core were trying to pull them away from the Drake, because they didn't want to walk into all of this pretty obnoxious poke. And at this point, Ray Farkey stepping forwards, but not a lot to be found. And Burning Core kind of in a bit of an awkward position. They've picked up some gold off DFM, making the mother of all misplays on the bot side, as we said, but now they've got to try and find a way to get DFM into a position where they can actually fight them. They think that starting the Baron will be the way forwards, but Steel's just not left, and once again, not finding a lot as Ebby gets some free time alone on this bot side.
Yeah, Eddie's really going to be having a good time. Yeah, he's got the QSS, so he's not worried about the Mordekaiser at all anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Just need that to come through on Seros and Utapon. Maybe Steel. Steel should almost certainly be getting it if it does end up coming down to these infernal soul fights. So we're seeing Steel go for the immediate power and burst potential with this Lich Bane. I feel like with the way these games have been really going, could have opted into the Roa, get that, go for that scaling, or even support, or even just commit to supporting your AD carries.
I suppose at this point, though, there are enough squishy members that if you can bide your time, look for the execute after the poke goes through. I can see that being an option as Utapon takes an ace in the hole to the face. Once is here to turn this into a 1 versus 2. There is the QSS followed by the Stormbringer to get Ebby out of dodge as the Death Realm was popped.
Yeah, and Ebby getting a little too overexcited there. Is not making sure he's not tracking the jungler well. Ends up wasting his QSS. So if the Baron fight, they need to stall out the Baron fight now, because otherwise they can have the bear just taken out of the equation. Although that's probably not the target Ray Fark is going for.
Ash arrow coming through. Yu-Gi-Oh is already out of the way, and that feels like a lot of these long-range arrows haven't quite landed. Yu-Gi-Oh aware enough for that to be not a problem. As actually Xeros over the wall, just half HPs. Make that 2/3, 3/4 of this Cassio's health bar just gone in an instant.
Yeah, instant removal there. Utapon gonna get caught, but
actually, Xeros turning around. That's a second Ash. Oh my god, Yuhi just about surviving, has to flash, heal away. But Xeros, where are you going? there is going to be an Abyssal Voyage out, and Utapon will get that kill. Seros goes down, but that's a 1-for-1. Once will fall as well, and DFM were just looking hard for this fight. It is a 2-for-2 right now, but Ray Farkey now in the backline as Gang is getting chunked out as the Yu-Gi-Oh running wild in the backline as this Cassiopeia. Poison landing deep, and now it is a 3-for-2 as DFM try to escape. That death scrap just about misses. But what on earth was that? That was hyper-aggressive from DFM.
And the target selection was shocking. Saros flashing in was just insane. But with that shuts down DFM's ability to play around anything. Ray Farkey is now really far ahead, and turns out if the Kog'Maw just flashes onto you, you don't need
Crowd's
to
going
buy
in.
a
Actually,
Protobelt.
Yu-Gi-Oh! He's got a Seraph's Embrace, but there is a Stormbringer into the stopwatches that have burnt time, and that will be the turnaround, but my days, that got close.
And you're jumping into two Zonyas, basically. Yes, it's on your stopwatch right now, but you have to check your items. And the Ash Arrow in the picture almost gets it. But going back to the replay, you see massive chunks out of Yuhi as both the poke lands, and then Saros just gets so over-aggressive, flashes straight into the Mordekaiser and gets blown up immediately. Once does get traded on and Yuhi do go down with the great Abyssal Voyage.
That
but
petrifying gaze. Oh.
And the petrifying gaze, and then here the target selection. They don't really know who they're going for, and that binding just spells the end there.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Just catching Utapon across the wall, who's had a slightly rough game on this Ash. Of course, it's still pretty much neck and neck. Infernal Dragon up in 15 seconds. DFM have priority in the mid lane, but do not have vision in the river, and that is where they wanted to be. And Burning Core will hold court in that particular domain. Yu-Gi-Oh! Will shred this Baron super fast as Ebby stepping forward, trying to get on a Ray Farkey. Does find the Righteous Glory slow. It's onto the back, but now has to try and get away. Finds a binding to the face, and that Volley Bear has to get devoured. Ray Farkey finds a fantastic turnaround, but now Utapon is trying to survive on the front line. Does get the shutdown onto Mordekaiser, but they found two, and now DFM on the retreat as we're seeing Yu-Gi-Oh! Here as well doing a lot of work. Seros is running away. He has to try and turn this around somehow as Yuhi nets forwards, and Seros doesn't have a mana buff to try and keep himself alive.
On the flank.
They've got the flank. We can see Once here trying to buy time. Yuji over the wall. Takes a spear to the face. And DFM are trying to buy time because it is a 2v4 around this Baron. But it would be a risk to go against the double poke. They're going to go back towards the Infernal Drake instead.
Their setups are... DFM, your setups are so bad. Your Evie is just trying way too hard to go onto this Mordekaiser, who is not an important target. Like, yes, he can change things around with his ult, and you're probably trying to bait the ult onto him, but he knows you've got the QSS. You're not going to do anything if you're diving that far forward. And yeah, the perfect bounding by Proud just catches him out. He's worthless here. And then the grasp from Ray Farkey. Immediately, Utapon is able to win the 1v1, but he comes out in the middle of the enemy team. He's worthless there. And then it's just, they can't chase down the 2 kills on Steel and Saros, but the damage is done. That's 3 kills for 1.
Mm-hmm. And the Infernal Soul Point now secure the Burning Core as well, which is a pretty terrifying problem for DFM. Still, this game is pretty damn close. It's about 1,500 in the favor of Burning Core. That's about all. And we're 31 minutes into this game, and I don't think we're any close to knowing who's going to win it. It's been DFM forcing the game just a little too hard. They kind of felt they needed to work their way into that river and didn't get a lot for it. In fact, they lost a lot for it. But there is now a death cap complete on this Kog'Maw, which makes him pretty strong. You can see it's oscillated back towards DFM and then back up to Burning Core at this point. Once dodged a spear there. But now the Abyssal Voyage coming through, trying to get in behind Yuki. And they're going to try and find this engage. Ebby coming in. They're going to get onto Proud. And that will be a dead Morgana just gone in an instant. That was a bit cleaner from DFM. Arrow goes wide. But that is the one pick off. They needed to try and start up this Baron, and now Burning Core will have to come and find their way into this Baron pit or risk losing everything. They're going to try and bait it. Teleport was burned by Yuji, and they cannot see anything in this river right now.
Once just trying to push the mid lane, trying to make DFM respond, but DFM has to start the Baron.
The Sky Splitter coming out. They may well have. They may well do. They've got enough HP. They've got Evie to tank, but once he's just saying, fine, I'll go push this. But if he's over there, he's not on Baron. Actually, DFM are pulling off and saying, yeah, we can't do this.
And yeah, DFM just look like they don't know what they actually want to do. They want to fight, and they're trying to use the Baron to set it up. But what's Burning Core going to do? They can't contest that Baron. They're at best, they're going to try and force you off it through, the siege. That's all their comp can really do. They have no real way to contest that Baron. Is with Proud down, they can't face check, or they're not going to at the very least. So, but now Burning Core are able to move in and clean up the vision because DFM had to respond to the tower take. Bit of poke. Nothing.
Sarah Shield blocks all that out, so happy enough is Seros with that trade for now, and Ebby will find his way to the bot side, looking to shove that wave out.
And you can see Yuhi, he's picked up the Hex Drinker to help defend against the poke out of the Cogmore. And there's 2 minutes until the soul, and that is the most important thing. So DFM has to either convert this Baron sort of dance into something immediate in the next 2 minutes, or they have to switch their focus to just trying to defend that and keep control of the Dragon Pit. Because right now it's in Burning Core's hands, and Burning Core can just set up with the strapline and keep everything and keep it. And if they get sold, it's very good for them.
Yeah, I mean, they have a Cassiopeia, a Caitlyn, and Graves alongside. Hell, frankly, all of their members do damage. I don't know why I'm listing off names. Their whole squad, at the very least, does a modicum of damage, even a Morgana at this point, because she has got a fair amount of AP to her name for a support. Utapon takes a very hefty crit to the face, but of course, has got lifesteal and will be just about fine afterwards. But Caitlyn's starting to sting and show, I can do some poke too. All right, yeah. Spear's not going wide. About a minute until this Infernal Drake. DFM, once again, outside of the river, but have got priority, such as it is in mid lane. All right.
This is really dangerous position for DFM. If it wasn't Soul Point, you could say, yeah, all right, look, we'll just trade it.
Arrow wants
Mass Black Shield there.
It does buy time. I'm not quite sure whether he just has enough tenacity to get out of that super quickly. Actually, as DFB's going forward onto once, trying to get him, does find the stun and the Sky Splitter, but actually there is still enough time for him to get out. But it does force Burning Core away from the pit, which means DFM get to move in 15 seconds before this starts. Ray Farkey will recall, but actually won't get the chance. That means he's going to be at this fight at half HP. This would be Infernal Soul for Burning Core. They really want this. Ebby's around the back, has got ultimate, has got flash. Starting up now for Burning Core. Can they secure this dragon is the question we have to ask
Level
ourselves.
advantage for once.
Here's the teleport in. That flank from Mordekaiser, we said it would be a problem. Still going in. It is secured. They get the Infernal Soul. They get the first kill. And now Ray Farkey in the backline trying to buy time. The QSS will buy time. But now DFM on the retreat. And it's going to be another death, surely, for Gang, who does get over the wall. But he will fall to Yu-Gi-Oh! And now Burning Core, with everything to their name, will walk over to the Baron Pit with DFM unable to contest.
DFM, are not being decisive enough. They're not trying anything. They're not throwing out poke. They're not trying to aggressively push into it. And now they're going way too late. They've been scared chicken. Evi was going way too aggressive. Now he's not going aggressive enough. And they might be able to get a kill onto Yuhi, but nope, the burst just dead. Way too much. Yuhi does die on the run.
Taken so damn low, once gets that kill. But it is
the burst!
Caitlyn down, and the burst from this high damage Graves is more than enough to secure the kill onto Udapon. He's been having a rough game on this Ashe.
Yeah, Udapon not being able to find any of the arrows he's throwing out left, right, and center. He's not landing any to any great effect, and it just means they're missing one of
Once
their core
has
aspects
found
of
Seros,
engagement.
takes so much damage, but there is a Seraph shield, and now Seros comes back out! And gets spat out in front of a collateral damage. Not sure about that one. Once is likely to get devoured here. He's going to take a spear as well, and will likely fall. He's going to do a lot of damage on the way out, though. Does get shut down. Alright, jungler is dead, but this particular player don't go down easy.
So now it's DFM is in the position of we need an Elder Drake. That's what we need, and I don't know if Burning Gore are going to give it to them. But look at this. They're just Heavy is posturing way too far away. They start up the dragon, and then they're just like, yeah, we're just sort of dealing with this ward. This ward's here. Back up your jungler. He needs it. He's the only one going for it. Dies immediately as it explodes. And then Rayfaki got the teleport into the backline. And, I mean, they're lucky that only gang went down here. So, but it was...
Yeah, it went down
DFM
just fight, but it did go the way of once that time out. They have the Baron buff. Not really found as much with it as they perhaps would have liked, but you can see the damage there dealt by various people. Hell, that feels like it should have been more from DFM, but you can see the spears didn't land from Nidalee, and they certainly landed from the likes of Caitlyn just auto-attacking the backline with Rayfaki, who has definitely recovered from his rough early game.
Yeah, DFM were playing as if that wasn't the sole point.
Mm-hmm.
Only Steel was like, yeah, they were playing like, okay, Steel, you go forward. If you steal it, that's great. If not, that's no big deal. It was a big deal. It's bloody Infernal Soul. And now Burning Core should be able to just run it down, set up your siege, just walk at them, just an auto attack here and there. There's nothing that DFM can do.
They need to get Cogmore landing as much damn poke as he bloody well can is what they need to do, but they've still got to survive another 20 seconds of this Baron Bush. They haven't broken the base, have Burning Core as yet, but Caitlyn is looking to change that in fairly swift order. Look at those auto attacks on the back end, though. Ebby trying to go in on Rayfaki. There is a spear that goes wide, and they just can't kill this Mordekaiser.
They can't kill him. They used to be able to kill him, but now they can't. He's way too far ahead now. There's no the Volibear damage isn't there. The Volibear tankiness isn't there because he's gone into the sort of half and half build.
They went for an Abyssal Void.
He had to buy QSS.
He has had to go QSS. That's one way of putting it. And you saw the attempted Abyssal Void that was cancelled there from DFM. And after what felt like a pretty strong early game, they've kind of copped it in the mid game here, Vinny.
Yeah, they kind of blew it up for around second Herald. They lost. They sort of started to lose control of the game. Massive blunders from Udapon in that mid game meant Burning Core was able to get back into it, and from there, DFM just Evie was gung ho, but the rest of them were scared. And then eventually that wore off on Evie, and all of them were scared. And then, and you've lost too much. You've lost too much at this point. You might be able to find your way back into it with a Miracle Team fight. I mean, you have the late game scaling of Seros, who is all but full build right now.
He can definitely blow people up, but
they've got to
get him set up, and they can't have a Mordekaiser turning up on top of him, which has been a real problem, right? That flank in the last one, you could see DFM having to group up to prevent that, but left Steel by himself. They couldn't secure the Drake. Once is now level 18 on this Graves as well. Definitely looking pretty scary, and DFM's map is getting mighty dark, Vinny.
And now Rayfaki has the Rylai's. He can easily get on top of Seros now. He's not really being punished for building like this. I mean, he's set up to lock onto Evi and bonk him to death, but he can just do what he wants, because apparently the 80 carries are just going to walk right into his grasp and get taken away.
Let's set up here, because we have a Elder Dragon spawning in 15 seconds. DFM are looking to get on a He's very deep. He's got a black shield, but that will stop the Ash Arrow. DFM can't find it, but now actually go over the backline. Ebby finds the mother of all engages. They're onto Yuhi. Finally, onto him. He's trying to escape. Will go down. It is a 1-for-1 thus far. Ray Farkey in the backline trying to survive. Will not for now. Seros is stuck. Has got flash. Will get over the wall, and Ray Farkey falls down. DFM have turned around for now, but Utapon does go down. He's dead. So is Ebby, and while they got the two big people, they finally get the Caitlyn. Everybody else dies because goddamn does everyone else do damage right now.
And that was the best they were going to get. They got a massive fight.
Oh my god.
Almost deleted Yuhi instantly.
Not enough. Steel needs to get in. He's to try and find his way onto this Baron. But on the Baron, the Elder Dragon. But now one's caught a little bit too deep. But wait, there is the Elder Dragon secured. And that should surely be the game. They've got the Elder Dragon. They've got Seros trying to run away. But once needs to land one skill shot. He'll get not the Elder Dragon burn. And the shutdown comes the way of the Cogmore. All right. That might prevent the end of the game for it all. Let's see the replay. Yuhi just lived such a long time.
And Yuhi, massive black shield here, just out on the edge of range for it too. It means Yuhi doesn't die instantly, but they still do a lot of damage on the side of DFM. They managed to turn around, and it's about the best they're going to get. As Ray Farkey, we don't get to see it, but he wasted the ult on Gang, which meant he didn't really get a bunch of stats, which meant he could die quite easily to the damage from Utapon and Steel. But overall, yeah, that Infernal Soul coming up huge, massive ult from Yu-Gi-Oh! And yeah, that was the best they were gonna get. That just sort of sums it up. That damage on the red buff almost one hits it.
Wow.
This game should be over from DFM, but I mean,
you never know. They might do it. They've got a Cogmore. They've got an Ash at full items as well. Maybe, just maybe, they can find something, but they've got to find their way past this Graves that hit critical mass. A Cassiopeia in a similar regard. This Caitlyn, they have so many things to kill, and they need to get a chance to poke out before it happens. There's still 50 seconds on this Elder buff, by the way.
Yeah, full item Caitlyn. There's Elder buff on the 5-item Cassiopeia. It should be all but over.
Right, this is it. The last siege. Burning Core looking to even up the series. There are Nexus turrets between them and the ending of this game. This Caitlyn doing a lot of work. The Nexus turret in the middle will fall as the Nexus, in the mid lane will respawn. We're going to see... they're onto the base. They're going to try and finish it up. Ebby going in, trying to survive. Ray Farkey will fall, or rather stay alive, because Ebby has fallen. And that will be Burning Core securing their way to a Silver Scrapes matchup. With the way that early game was going, I didn't think they had it in them. But some poor plays from DFM and some nice catches from Burning Core will bring us to a match 5 in this series. But find out what we think of that. We'll be back in a couple of moments once we've collated some thoughts. We're back, and Burning Core have evened up the series. It is 2-2 right now, and it is one last best of one to determine who wins it all here. And DFM threw away a fairly hefty early lead, Vinny.
It was going so well for them. They opened up with the solo kill First Blood. They got really good rotations around the top side. They were able to get that Cogmore an early kill. They were able to get their Volibear very far ahead early. And even their bot side, which they just left to their own devices in a losing matchup, was looking to take the first tower down by themselves.
That's kind of where it all went wrong, though, wasn't it? Because they were looking to take that tower down, and then what happened? This is the start of the debacle that became DFM's mid-game.
So then what happened was they got poked out a little bit too much under tower. That's fine, it happens. They had to back off. Then they sort of stuck around and got flashed upon by Yuhi, who was able to clean up that first kill and then clean up both kills because of great play out of Proud, getting the ultimate and keep flashing to keep Gang on top of him, to keep on top of Gang. But then Heavy just teleports behind them and runs headfirst into a 3v2, which was very quickly about to become a 3v1 because Gang was next to death at the start of the teleport, and throws away a shutdown, and a massive lead to get this Caitlyn really far ahead, brings Rayfaki back into the game, who was basically shut out before.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, Burning Core just played really well. DFM played really
and I do want to
cowardly.
touch on that a little bit. That DFM oscillating between not setting up very well for objectives and then trying to force really hard engages. That one in the mid lane in particular with Seros flashing in on the Cogmore. What was going on?
I have no idea. There's such basic mistakes. It looked like they were back in Plat or something, just overreaching way too hard, especially Abby and Seros reaching so hard for these kills and getting punished for it, rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
And then after those overreaches, they sort of overcorrected too much when it came down to that Infernal Soul, and they lost that handedly.
See, it came down to the Smite fight and Rayfaki teleporting in behind. You can sort of see the split calls there, getting caught out a little bit. Volibear wasn't quite as effective as the first game. And by the time you hit that Infernal Soul plus double Uber buffs, Burning Core just far too far ahead. Gratefully receiving DFM's throw from the early game, and they do manage to even up the series. We are going to cut to a break now, and when we come back, it will be Game 5, and this will determine who moves forwards, Detonation FocusMe or Burning Core. Stay exactly where you are. You don't want to miss it.